Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Wrasslin for Life Network. As always, we are here with more wrestling content. I'm about to sit down and have an amazing conversation with the man next to me, folks. Make sure you strap in, strap on, get in that chat. Let us know what's on your mind. It's going to be a fun one. We got lots to talk about. Let's go. Ding, ding, ding. We are live and ready to go, folks. As always, this is the Wrasslin for Life Network. I am Mr. Every Night, KJ White, but nobody wants to know about me. I'm here to interview the man next to me. He's already ready to go. I can see it. But, folks, for those who don't know, I got the meat popping, jaw dropping, jobbing, Mr. Big Ben.
Don't forget earthquaking and pillars shaking, 6'12", 15% of a metric ton.
I was going to add that part.
Larger than life, hotter than hell. And KJ, bigger than you.
Definitely bigger than me. The other guy on the channel is Big Nick for a reason. So there you go. There you go. Welcome to the Wrasslin for Life Network, sir. How are things going? How you doing on this summer day?
I'm living, man. LIVIN. I'm doing good. You know, I'm just been a whirlwind the last few weeks. I've been having fun on social media, as you guys know. I can't complain. You know, it's a beautiful Wednesday here in Georgia. I've had a great day so far. We'll get into what I did today in a little bit, but you know, man, life's going good. Life's going good. I'm enjoying this ride so far.
Happy to hear that. Once again, thank you for joining us today, folks out there. Don't forget, we got all your alternative commentary for everything, and we're looking forward to putting out more and more content for you guys. So without that being holding us back, we were going to do this interview a little bit earlier today. I'll pull back the curtain a little bit. We got a little delayed, but the man who delayed us can't really complain. Mr. DDP, Diamond Dallas Page himself, reached out. And that was your day today.
Yeah, it was. So I've been in contact with Dallas for about 2 years now. Become friendly. I've always done his DDP. Now we have to call it DDPY now. Can't call it DDP yoga anymore because of branding purposes. So I've always done DDPY ever since I stopped playing basketball in college. I had herniated disc in my back. I didn't want to have surgery, and I ended up doing months and months, a year even, of DDPY, and my back never felt better. So there's a free advertisement for you, Dallas. But you know, then when I moved down here, we had a mutual friend linked me up with Dallas, and got the opportunity to go work out with him a few times. Started about 2 years ago and continuing every now and then. We link up every now and get a workout in. So got to get one in today. That's why this was pushed back a few hours. But thankfully, KJ, Nick, they understood that, hey, you know, when DDP comes calling, you got to answer. Yeah, you got to take that opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. We think we're big. We're not that big. So we'll give them that. But what's it like with DDP as far as the intensity goes? I hear amazing stories about what a guy is. Of course, we know the documentaries and such, but you've had a firsthand account of hanging out with DDP.
Yeah, you know, the proof is in the pudding with Dallas. I mean, everyone's seen what he's done for people throughout the years. Jake Roberts, you know, God rest his soul. Scott Hall, what he was able to help Scott with when he was still with us, and now Butterbean. He's been doing great work with Butterbean. But you look down the roster that he has of people that he has worked with and he has helped. He got really big off. If you guys look at the YouTube video, Arthur's story, the guy who was a paratrooper, he couldn't walk. He had to walk with braces, and no one, doctors would tell him you're never going to walk again. And you know, Dallas helped him, and he ended up doing all the DDP yoga. And then, you know, at the end of the video, no spoiler, but he ended up running. So it's just an amazing program, especially for people who are starting a fitness journey. Who might not feel as comfortable going to a gym. You know, you can do this all at your home. There's an app, there's DVDs, whatever. Most people now use the app. And it's just, I think it's tremendous. He has helped so many people throughout the years, and
Mhm.
having this like second career, you can call it, that he has made for himself, and has done just outstanding work. The workouts are great. They're tough. They're not easy. There's a new thing he uses called power cuffs, which is blood flow
Yes.
restriction.
Yep.
Anyone's ever done BFR training, it humbles you really quick, because you can be lifting, you can be used to lifting a ton of weight, and then you put the BFR bands on, and maybe you'll get a quarter of that. You don't even come close. So it's I can't say enough about it. We were in there today, me and a guy by the name of Chris Garbarino, who is a former Marine and worked with Dallas to get his body back in shape. And you're just, we're two guys who are used to working out, used to lifting, and we're just, sweating and swearing. That's for sure. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. And he pushes you, and he makes sure you ain't slacking ever. What you see is what you get with DDP. So what you've seen on TV, what you see how he is a tremendous human being. He's a hell of a marketer. He knows how to market his product.
Smart man.
He's cutting promos the whole time we're working out. It was filmed. And, he's unbelievable. I can't say enough good things about Dallas.
Amazing. Now, does it strictly kind of stay to the fitness side of things? Does it blend into some of the wrestling? Does he ever, put his arm around you and give you some pointers that way?
Yeah. I mean, he's, it's mostly the fitness, mostly the fitness now, and it's he always says, keeping an eye out for you, and he'll I've gotten to the point where he definitely sees that I'm putting the work in, and he even said, like, from 2 years ago to see where I am now, he's extremely impressed. And that's the thing, he's a guy that, he's a friendly guy, but if he doesn't see you're putting the work in, or he doesn't notice, like, it's like if you're just asking for a handout, he ain't. That's not the type of guy he is. He's never been given handouts. He's worked for everything. So, if he sees you putting the work in, then he's more apt to go to bat for you. So, so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
No, that's absolutely amazing. And again, nothing but, good stories coming out of that. So that's a fun way to spend an afternoon. Can't really
sure is. Yeah.
That at all. But with all that being said, that kind of ties into the fact that you're kind of cooking right now, my friend. Like,
cooking, that's with some gas. Yeah, I'd say cooking a little bit.
Right, your social media is blowing up. A lot of amazing content. If you guys haven't seen Ben's content, go check that out.
Right there, you can see it. There it is.
Right there, right below him. So no, definitely go check that out. But yeah, that's kind of, I mean, you do the podcasting thing, you love putting out content, and lately you've been kind of everywhere. Even one well, I'll let you go and then I'll finish.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's that's the name of the game nowadays, right? And Jeff Jarrett was actually talking about this on his podcast yesterday, where he said, he was answering questions. Conrad asked him a question from his fan base, and they asked, like, who's next up, right? And Jeff didn't give an exact answer, but what he said was, if you guys didn't listen to My World Pod, but what he said was whoever can utilize social media. So whoever can take advantage of using social media. He brought up Logan Paul. And obviously Logan Paul's not next up. Logan Paul's right now. So, he's like this, that's a different story. But then out of the blue, Jeff brought me up, and he just says, he's like, big trouble, Ben Bishop, what he's doing, stepping up to the plate, looking to hit a home run, looking to, take the shot. And that's what it is. Because KJ, I mean, I don't want to, like, when I started wrestling, being tall in wrestling, I was being a shoot close to 7-footer that I am. A lot of people think, like, oh, you're good, right? All I ever hear is like, oh, Vince would love you, or this is, like, this is you're all set. Oh, you're gonna get signed. You're gonna get signed in a year. You're gonna get signed next month. Like, it's only a matter of time. And and like, that's cool to hear.
Yeah.
But at some point, it's just like, it hasn't happened yet. Like, why isn't it happening yet? Like, what's going on? Like, I feel like, I'm good in the ring. I'm aesthetically pleasing, I'll say. I'm tall, and I'm like, what am I missing? What am I? And then I'm just seeing certain guys doing things on social media. I see guys like Matt Cardona, right? Who's already had a name, and he could have rested on his laurels, come to the Indies, and just be like, yeah, formerly known as Zack Ryder. You saw me win the Intercontinental belt at WrestleMania one year. You remember the woo woo woo? You remember that? Like, he could have just rested on that and gone to signings and made a little bit of money. But he realized, like, I'm gonna use social media. That's what got him over in the first place in WWE. I'm gonna utilize social media. I'm gonna rebrand myself. I'm gonna do what I need to do, and I don't need to tell everybody what Matt Cardona did. You know what he did.
Yeah.
So I see guys like that. Then I'm seeing guys like, Danhausen putting out content, right? And then more presently, Joe Hendry, and
And
you
Joe
see
was
what
where I was going to
he's
ask.
doing, and it hits me that it's like, okay, I'm tall, I'm in shape, I'm good at wrestling, I can do it, I know what to do,
Mhm.
right? But it's like that's not enough. It's not 1996 anymore. It's not. So it's like just because you're tall and you're in shape doesn't mean you're going to get a job. And it doesn't, and it's not the same how it used to be. And I can, cry all I want and be like, what the hell is this not, that it used to be like that. Why isn't it anymore? That's when the most people were watching wrestling. I can talk about that,
Yeah.
right? Or I can do something about it. So I
Mhm.
decided last year, Nicky the Good,
Yeah.
on Twitter, he reached out to me and he's like, hey, would you want to like start a podcast? Think we could do something? And I'll be honest, Katie, I was close to just calling it quits. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm sick of this. Like, I don't know where this is going. I'm 34 now, and at the point I was 33 then, but I was just like, I don't think I want to do this. Like, I'm getting sick of it. I'm getting bored. I don't know what to do. And so
Yeah.
he just out of the blue one day, and I was close, and he just out of the blue texted me, "You want to start this podcast?" So we started the Meat Pop Express for just the sole reason we weren't like, "Oh, we want to get 1,000 views off the bat." Like if it doesn't work in 2 months, we just wanted to stay sharp. We wanted to be able to talk, just be able to get our ideas out there, find our voice. What Nick always says. And then he just said, we got to keep putting content out. Like we can't just have like one podcast a week. We gotta do like shorts and reels and that type of stuff.
Don't
And
stop.
so I just thought, I always joke around with like friends in wrestling, and I always make some jokes about how silly this can be. Like, why don't I make some reels about it? I'm a creative guy. I've always enjoyed being in front of a camera, always, even since I was a little kid. So I just said, hey, you know what? Like, I'm gonna put this all into reel form, and I'm gonna have some fun with it. And I just did it really to pop myself, to be honest. Like I was having fun, and and then slowly but surely it started catching on. I started finding different like characters. I decided I was just like, maybe I could, do this all the time. Just keep making content and not slow down with it. Then it finally hit me. More and more people reaching out, like, oh man, I go to conventions. People were like, I love your videos, and I'm just like, wait, you've seen them? Like, I'm like, I'm not thinking. I'm not thinking about it. So I'm just thinking I'm doing it, and a few of my buddies are seeing it, and then we're just all laughing together about it. And then all of a sudden, a couple of weeks ago, when I went to AEW on July 6th, I had people coming up to me just like, "What you're the guy who makes those videos?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like, "Oh, you do like the shindy promoter thing." And they're like, "Oh, I love that one." Someone else be like, "I love that one." "Oh, I love this one. I love this one. I love that one." So it's like everyone loves one different, which is cool. It's not like I'm a one-trick pony where it's like I had the one video that went viral, right? So everyone's like, "I love this. Is my favorite video." "Oh, the one where you did that one. That was my favorite video." And that was cool. I didn't just feel like an extra. I felt like one of the guys there.
Yeah, for sure.
And just to like wrap it up, when we talk about like now, it's like the last few weeks have been mind blowing with just social media blowing up, more people seeing it. When I found out what I was going to do at AEW, I could have said, this stinks. I'm only getting to go out there for some odd minutes, and Roddy's great, one of the best wrestlers in the world, but there is a size difference, and I'm just like, I gotta go. I got to go do that. And I could have done that. I could have sat there and just felt sorry for myself and just said like, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks. Or I'm like, I'm going to go out there. I know I have 2 minutes. I was in the bathroom and I'm like, what kind of pose can I do? And I just was like, what can be like the cheesiest looking pose that can also show off that I'm a big guy. And like it could just be something funny. And I just out of the blue did it. Thank God the hard cam was where the hard cam was at that right time. I mean, I know where it was, but thank God they were on me. They caught that. They caught it. And you know what? I was like, I just got to show my personality. I know I can. Every single place I go, KJ, like everywhere I go, people react to me. And this is not me being cocky. I'm just telling the truth. I can go to any indie and I will have people react. I'm not the best wrestler in the world. And I'm not going to tell anyone that. I'm not going to go out there and have the 5-star banger or whatever you want. But I bet you at the end of the night, people are going to remember me and they're going to want to come up to me, at least say hi, take a picture and say, hey, that was awesome. Loved watching you in there. Because that's I just leave that impression on people because that's what it's all about. It's not about how technically great you are in the ring. You can be in that's an amazing skill. Don't get me wrong. You can be great at that. But if you're not leaving an impression on people and connecting with the audience, and there's no point. So there's my long answer to a short question.
That was a beautiful, and you're checking off a lot of boxes that I have here on my page here. So that's a good one. But no, and I mean, you do leave an impression again, not be, beyond your size. I mean, just the overall charisma, the attitude. And we talk about it a lot on this channel of, you can have a lot of generic wrestler number one who's really good at stuff, generic wrestler number two. And that's not a knock on their craft or what they can do.
Of course not.
But, we see a lot of that. We see a lot of guys getting in the ring and want to make something of themselves. And they're good, but you have to have that X factor. You have to have those intangibles to put yourself out there. And that's something clearly that you pride yourself on.
Yeah, and you see it all the time, right? You see like how great and one of the greatest of all time, Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson now. But you see him, and he was getting a lot of buzz, but then when he finally hit that serious peak is when he started saying yes, and he started, and showed more character and more personality, started connecting more with the audience. We'll bring him up again, Joe Hendry, same thing. That song's been out for 5 years. Right. Yeah. But now it's picking up, and now it's resonating with people. And now, and he's showing that like it doesn't. I bet you 95% of the people, maybe more, that have heard that song, probably more than 95%, maybe 99, have never seen Joe Hendry wrestle. But it doesn't matter. But they know the meme. They know it doesn't, and they know what they like him. It doesn't matter how good he is at wrestling. They just like him because he's charismatic. Yeah, he's engaging. And you can see that. You can feel that. You don't have to know the guy. You can feel that he is, right? And so that's what gets him over. It's not the wrestling. It's a Danhausen, same thing. They don't have to see to like get the character and see him and being like, this guy's charismatic and I like this guy. So that's what gets over just more than just the generic being a great wrestler.
No, for sure. And I mean, again, the word you kind of stole out of my mouth there was engaging, like the ability to engage. The audience wants to feel part of something. They want to feel, no different than their favorite athletes or their favorite sports team. They want to feel a part of it. And when you are, when you're able to engage that way and pull it in, that's when you're hit your stride.
Absolutely.
But, and again, you are rolling. And I mean, an interesting part of your story for some that don't know your full story. I mean, you come into the wrestling business, you had your basketball career. Something that's near and dear to my Canadian heart is actually you spent time with playing some rugby as well.
Australian football.
That close.
Yeah, a little close. Yeah, I did. So I actually started playing Australian football when I moved to Baltimore, actually. So I moved to Baltimore. I decided it was something else I wanted to do. And I found a group of guys, a group of Australian guys. Well, yeah, you should definitely play. You should check it out. Yeah. I had no idea. I had to learn how to kick the ball, all this stuff. I played basketball, so it wasn't any like kicking never was a thing.
No.
But it was fun. I played in the States. I didn't play in Australia, but it was here in the States. It was like a semi-pro type league. Yeah. And it was a blast. I mean, it was great. I had a few drinks. It was like to have a bunch of drinking buddies.
Yeah.
And it was cool. But everyone says that. Everyone's like, "Oh, you played rugby." I'm like, not.
Close.
Not quite. I mean, when I talk to Americans about it, I'm like, yeah, sure. Yeah. Whatever. You can call it that. I'm not going to explain it to you. You can't tell it to an Australian. They'll be like, no, it's not even close. Not even close.
Absolutely.
I'm like, think about it like an American thinking about it. Yes, it's kind of close. It's close.
Now, another part of that story is when you do get into wrestling, one of the influences and one of the guys that you've worked with, James Ellsworth, who, I mean, a lot of the public know as the gimmick they see on TV, not really realizing how much he does bring to the table and how much he offers others.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. Everyone's like, oh, he's just a goofy comedy wrestler. It's like, no, you gotta break down James Ellsworth and when you gotta think about this. Look at James Ellsworth. And I'm not saying anything that no one look at it, right? No. And he'll say this himself. So I'm not bearing him by any means. He's not in great shape. He's not a guy that's great looking. He's not tall. Right. So you're thinking like, how can this guy, but he had to have every single other intangible to get over in wrestling. So he had to learn how to be a great promo because he couldn't get by just being an average promo. He had to learn how to work great, selling great, no matter what kind of role he's in. He had to learn that better than everyone else because of how he looks. So he had to be even better than really good at these type of things. And he was trained the right way. He was trained by Axel Rotten, right? Rest in peace, Axel Rotten. A guy that I think was very underrated, and just didn't end up getting to like where he could have been.
Yeah.
But that's what he told him. And Axel Rotten believed in James, and he just said, I don't know how you're going to get there. He told him, he tells me this to this day. He's like, he told him one day in the car, I don't know how you're going to get there, but I think you're going to. He's like, and I'm pretty sure. And his story's amazing because he was back there, and when he got his shot, and everybody remembers his every man with two hands promo, right? When he got to wrestle Braun Strowman, he says it himself. Things fell into place, right? Arn Anderson was asking who's going to be the guy who wrestles Braun Strowman, and he's like, everybody throw a punch at me. He threw the best punch, so he threw the best working punch, and Arn Anderson's like, all right, it's you. So he picks him, and then of course Braun Strowman looks like the prototypical Vince McMahon poster boy, right? Like so, and Vince is watching this match. And he is invested in this match. And, Ellsworth goes out there, says the promo that he also was fortunate that Corey Graves, that knew Ellsworth from the indie, said, let this guy talk a little bit. He's a good promo.
Yeah.
So they let him do it. Usually that never happens. They let him have that. He cut the promo. He sold great for Braun Strowman. It was a 2-minute squash. And the rest is history. He went back to the curtain, and Triple H comes to him and says, Vince is going to hire you. And he thought he was getting ribbed. He thought he was getting ribbed. He's like, he's just like, he looked at him. He's like, oh, okay. And then everyone's like, yeah, that's a rib, dude. They ain't going to hire you. 6 weeks later, got a call from Vince McMahon and said, hey, you available? I'm like, yeah. Yeah, I think I'm available. And that was it. And so, but that's, and then for me, obviously I'm much different looking than James Ellsworth, but he was able to teach me all those little things that like, it's just so invaluable that you can't learn like at just a wrestling school, just doing like bumps and drills and all this stuff. It's that invaluable teaching, riding in the car with them, going to shows, getting booked on the same shows as them, having them critique matches, and critiquing the little things, not like, hey, you did a power slam not the right way, but like, hey, you were selling wrong, or this, that, or the other, just little psychology things. And of course, learning, you got to maximize your minutes, right? So like I saw him go out there against Braun Strowman, and he had to, he's like, I got 2 minutes. This might be the only thing I ever get in wrestling, and I might, this is my ceiling. It's like, I got to go out here and knock it out of the park. And I try to do the same thing on Rampage, where it's like, I just got to try to knock it out of the park and do what I can instead of just sitting here crying and complaining about it. So yeah, I can't say enough. Again, another guy I can't say enough good things about. He's been instrumental helping me. He's always believed in me, even when I was like, I don't even want to do this anymore. He's always told me, man, don't give up. You got this. So yeah, he's been really, really important in my journey in wrestling for sure.
No, it's absolutely amazing. Again, a big focus on the intangibles, the other things. And the thing I loved, and I think hearing some of your story and going back through your history, I mean, the putting yourself in those positions to have that opportunity and then maximize it. But, you're the type of guy that's taking the ring down, putting it up, doing all the things because you seem to want, all the flavor from the experience.
Yeah. No, and absolutely. And that's the right way to do it, and I kind of cringe and hate when I hear about guys who, and it's don't hate the player, hate the game situation, but there's so many guys who just get jobs in wrestling, never do any of those things. They'll get a job, or they'll go through 3 months of a training school and think like, oh, that's all I got to do. I don't have to do anything else. Like I don't have to set up rings. I don't have to tear down rings. I don't have to stay late, stay after, bring the ring back to a warehouse, set it back up at the warehouse. You're not getting home till 2, 3 a.m. Right. There's a lot of people who think that. And it makes me cringe. And I look at it, it's like, I see guys, big, like tall guys who just think they're better than it and think they're like, I don't have to do any of that because I'm big, I'm tall, I'll get opportunities no matter what. And like, yeah, you probably will get more than guys that are smaller, but that's not the way to do it. I wasn't raised that way or brought up that way. I don't want to just take the easy way out. I want to help out. And that's, that sounds so baby face-ish, but, but like, I mean, but it's true. It's like, I can't watch guys just like do something while I'm just like sitting there, and like now, I still try to help every now and then if I can. I just hate sitting there watching. So it's like, it's just something that's always been instilled in me. And like, I see too many guys that are just like too entitled or get opportunities and then think they're better than people. And I'm just like, what the hell? Like this can end so quickly for you. Like this, stop like so quickly. So why would you want to get that reputation? Why would you want to be that type of person? No one's better than anybody. And I was telling a buddy like that today. A guy who reached out to me about working with him, and I was just like, dude, I'm not better than anybody. Like, it doesn't matter. Even I got this little recent success. It doesn't make me better than anyone. Like, no, we're all the same. We're all trying to work. We're all trying to do something creative. Like, let's all support each other. So, Yeah, that's kind of what I'm all about.
No, that's absolutely amazing. And being what you're all about has led you to, like you said, you were on Rampage recently. I know you had done a couple previous dark matches, but you get your kind of national TV exposure. And I will say that you have maximized the time that you had as far as not just on TV, but if you didn't see that match, which we did, we covered it live. But if you didn't, you would have thought, you had the main event. Like
Mhm.
it was, you're definitely maximizing that exposure, even with
Yeah,
the ladies.
that's what oh yeah, you're right. 55,000 people. I mean, numbers don't lie. Numbers don't
Yeah,
lie. Exactly. KJ, it's just like I said, I could have just sat there and been like, "Hey, I was on Rampage, awesome, sweet, that
yeah,
was fun," and but I'm like, let me do something that no extras done because I think a lot of people are afraid to put themselves out there. To be
yeah,
completely honest with you, and I think they're just like, "Oh, well, I don't know, maybe I'll get heat, or like maybe AEW won't like that if I'm doing this." I'm like, screw it. I'm in this position right now. I'm 34 years old, and I'm
mhm,
I'm not gonna sit here and be like, I'm worried about heat, right? If they're like, oh, we don't like that you're promoting our show, then I'm like that. Okay, like, oh,
mhm.
you don't want me to
Yeah,
promote it?
sorry.
Like, so yeah, like I'm telling people to watch. Like
Yeah,
I'm like, so I'm saying to myself, like, why wouldn't you want to promote it? It's like, so I was just like, I'm gonna promote it and act like this is the biggest debut in Rampage history. And
yeah.
let's have fun with this and let's get everybody ramped up for it. And then when it happens, I already had the content. I knew what happened. Spoiler, I knew what happened the whole week,
Right.
right?
Oh,
It
we had
wasn't
to wait
live.
for it.
But let's just have fun with it. And I already had some ideas and they caught on and and some people think I'm dead serious. When I do these things, you look at the comment. Let's go look at the comment section on some of my videos. Some people get
Oh, they're amazing.
really upset with me.
Yeah.
And
Doesn't take much.
no, it doesn't. It doesn't take much. Which I understand. If you don't see the rest of my videos, you don't get the vibe of my social
Mhm.
media. So I don't blame anybody. But I just like, oh, you must be new here, is what I tell a lot of people. You must be new.
Right.
But yeah, it's again, you gotta maximize your minutes. And nowadays, it's not just on television; it's on social media, and you gotta be able to have a persona. That's where you're gonna reach the most people, right?
Yep.
Like, I mean, it. That's how it goes. You see what WWE does, and they maximize social media to the fullest extent now. And it's not just TV. Because if you're just worried about TV, you're never gonna get ahead. So you gotta do something on social media. You gotta get people involved. People want to be involved. It's the same thing I tell guys at wrestling shows, independent shows. Involve the people, engage with the people. If you take 2-3 minutes engaging with people, or you're gonna go ahead and do 2-3 minutes of chain wrestling, I bet you
Yeah.
99% of crowds are going to rather be engaged with than watch you chain wrestle for 3 minutes because they're not there. They don't care about it as
Yep.
much as you think. So engage with them on social media, have
Mhm.
fun there. That's where you can actually show a personality because a lot of guys don't get TV time. There's
Uh,
very few wrestlers get TV time, and guys will be upset about it. Like I can't show my personality. I can't show what I'm really all about. Well, go on social media. Like you can make videos. You can do something. Oh, but
yeah.
maybe that'll get heat. Who cares? If it's
Yeah.
getting over and it's working and people are resonating with you, believe me, the heat's going to go out the window. No one's going to, if it's working and people like it, no one's going to give you shit about
Right.
you. So,
Yeah. Success makes people forget real quick. If it's
mhm.
cooking and it's working, people tend to not dwell on the fact that, oh, maybe you shouldn't have said that. Well, people are buying into it.
Yeah. I mean, and you gotta be smart, man. It's a political business. You gotta be a little political, but
Mhm.
but also like you gotta put yourself out there because if you're just waiting and sitting and waiting, like, oh, I'm gonna wait for my spot. I'm gonna wait for my spot. I've done that. I haven't been in the business long. I'm not trying to say I've done this for like 10, 12, 15 years,
Yep.
but like, I've been waiting for 5 years now and I'm waiting to get the spot. I'm seeing guys I'm seeing myself get passed over for all these other guys, some of these tall guys who've never worked a match in their life. Okay, I can go on a rant, but I won't.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And yeah, I'll save it for another day when maybe I'm a little less political. But yeah, so I can see that and I can sit here and play woe is me, or I can be like, you know what, I'm gonna show everybody. And I'm gonna show a lot of these guys, that I've been ghosted on emails from, a lot of guys who've told me things like, oh, you're clumsy, you're unathletic, no one's gonna want to pay to see you. Guys like that, I'm gonna prove them wrong. And that's what motivates me. Because there's a few. There's a few guys who have said things like that to me.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna make sure that they eat their words.
No, and that's the best way to be. I mean, even with what we do, you're always trying to bring in the audience and bring in the people, and you love meeting people that are engaging, like yourself. We met a lot of really good people, but then there's some people that just like small fries, and then you wait and you watch how things turn, and then as things kind of have a funny way of working out the way they're supposed to. So definitely makes it entertaining to kind of watch the ups and downs of how people go. But you always want to, treat it with as much kindness and respect as you can as you go through.
Absolutely.
That being said, one of the things that did come up lately, and you mentioned it already, Jeff Jarrett, a Hall of Fame legend, just starts talking about you on his podcast. I was listening. I thought that was pretty incredible. And my buddy Nick was like, "Dude, we got to talk to this guy." I was like, "Absolutely."
Nick's been wonderful. Definitely very supportive. He likes everything, retweets everything. You guys have been great. But yeah, I know that was surreal to me because, and how it happened is when I was at AEW, I was just walking backstage and Jeff just so happened to look up when he was in catering and I was walking by the door and he turned to one of the producers there and said, "Who the F is that?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "That's Ben. You don't know Ben?" And he's like, "No, who's Ben?" I'm like, "Who's Ben?" And he's like, "Oh, do you guys see some of his videos?" So we started showing him the videos, and you heard on the podcast that was all true. Jeff came up to me and started like ribbing me with one of my Shindy promoter videos, like doing the gimmick back to me, and I didn't get it at first. And I'm like, and then I like 20 seconds, and I'm like, "Oh, I see what he's doing." So then I started playing along with him. But yeah, and then a couple days later, Jeff followed me, and I thought that was going to be it. I thought he just wanted to have fun, and like he was a cool guy, and I didn't think anything of it. Then all of a sudden, I got a follow from him, and I'm like, "Oh, this is awesome." And so then I reach out to him, and I'm just like, "Hey, Jeff, would love to, get some advice from you, talk to you. I'm trying to make it to the next level. Like, what can I do? And so then he's just like, "Hey, give me a call." So I give him a call. We talk. He's like, "We're talking about all this stuff." And, we've been in contact ever since. And then Conrad started following me. And I'm like, "Conrad, thank you so much for the follow and for some he was liking and reposting some of my stuff. Like, I really appreciate it." And he's just like, "Oh yeah, we're bringing you up today on the podcast, by the way." And I was just like, "Wait, what?" And he's like, "Yeah, no, we love your stuff. We all love your stuff." So with that said, and then he brought me up again yesterday, talking about the next guy up. And he said, "Whoever utilizes social media," like I mentioned. So he's been awesome. He's been really supportive. He likes all my stuff. So does Conrad. And actually, next Thursday, I will be on their Patreon live with Jeff Jarrett on the My World Pod Patreon for like a live show. So next Thursday at 8 p.m. August 1st. So
there you go. That's incredible.
Yeah. I didn't put the poster out yet, so you're the first to know.
There you go. Exclusive, folks. Exclusive. And
yeah.
Breaking it. No, that's incredible. It's funny again how things just kind of roll out. Like,
and it's so surreal, KJ, because like, I'm thinking like, it's funny. Sometimes I got to sit back, right? And my wife tells me this all the time, like, because you always, as a wrestler, you're always thinking like, and as a wrestler and just being an athlete, like, what's next? What I got to do next? And you don't want to let the adulation that you receive make you become complacent. That's what a coach used to tell me all the time. So like, what's next? What's next? I'm not signed yet. And you kind of sit there and you're like, I haven't hit the goal yet. And I haven't achieved what I'm supposed to yet. And you can think like you're a failure. But like my wife tells me all the time, she's like, think about what you've done. Like, you've done cool stuff with Barstool Sports, like when no one else has done anything like that. Yeah. You've been on Young Rock. You've been in the WWE 2K commercial, like as Hulk Hogan. And like, that was really, and like, it's like, you've met all these guys that like you grew up idolizing and like, and you don't think it's cool. And then like, you're working out with DDP, like a guy that you love. Jeff Jarrett's mentioned you on a podcast. Like, sit back and think like, this is cool. Like if 10-year-old Ben was like, saw me, 34-year-old Ben, like, complaining about not being signed yet, 10-year-old me would kick 34-year-old me in the balls. I'd just be like, shut up. Yeah. Just enjoy it. Enjoy it, because again, like I said, this can all end like that. And so I just said, like, and so the other day I just sat back. I'm like, man, it's cool. It is. And it's, the job's not done. And I haven't done what I wanted to do yet and hit every goal. But, it is, you got to sit back and be like, man, it is really cool. It really is.
Yeah, you got to celebrate those wins along the way, right?
You got to, or it'll pass you by. And another, wise man told me again, he said, a watched pot never boils either. So you got to just enjoy it.
100%. And again, with all that kind of effort, you just ended up with the right place at the right time. Like you said, you've done some really cool things. By the time it's all said and done, if you're only always looking at that kind of brass ring, do you ever hit it and do you ever really enjoy it? Because once you get that, then what, right?
That's exactly it, right? And then what? And then so that's why you just sit there and you say, you know what? Been doing cool stuff that I never thought I would do. If I never went to that independent wrestling show in 2019, James Ellsworth show in Arbutus, Maryland. The only reason I went, here it is. I was listening to Busted Open Radio. Enzo Amore was on Busted Open, and he said, I'm going to be in like outside of Baltimore, Maryland tonight in Arbutus, Maryland. And I'm like, oh, I'm living in Columbia, Maryland. That's only, I looked it up. Oh, that's 25 minutes from me. Well, you know what? I haven't gone to an independent wrestling show in a long time. My wife was dog sitting for a friend.
Yeah.
And I just said, I'm home alone. And I was sitting there, I was playing Madden. And I was like, I was playing Madden. I was like, I bought the tickets early in the day, $20 tickets or so. And I'm just like, I really want to go. Maybe I'll just keep playing Madden. I'm just like, you know what? Why not? I'm not doing. And I was going alone. I didn't have any friends that really liked wrestling, so I'm gonna go alone. So I went, and it's the weird fate thing, right? Gilbert comes up to me. Who are you? I'm just Ben. He's like, let me introduce you to Jimmy. Who's Jimmy? Oh, James Ellsworth. And he's like, you want to try this? Sure. Next day training. So
there you go.
It's funny how shit happens, man. It really is.
Imagine you didn't get off your couch that night.
Imagine if I was playing better in Madden. Imagine if my dynasty was better. It was because I lost. Yeah.
Now, one of the things you did mention is the fact that you podcast, you kind of put it out there. The podcast you do, you give straight up opinions on a lot of things. You don't really, any heat, any blowback, and anything that
no, not really. I mean,
they're just gonna leave it.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of know, like, we're not going to bash people too many times. Like, a lot of times we bash kind of like, I bash a lot of the fans' opinions, to be completely honest, who I really bash. And, just people trying to set people straight on how wrestling works and how it really is. And just people how have to relax about certain things because Twitter gets so up in arms about everything. And yeah, I mean, I'll give opinions. I'll say, I won't really, we kind of like to talk about the stuff that we like. If there's something I don't like, I'll just be like, it's not for me. Right. Yeah. And I'll be open and I'll say, like Lucha Libre style wrestling isn't for me. And that's okay. And I'm not again, it's amazing what they do. It's incredible. And I have all the respect in the world. I have all the respect in the world for deathmatch wrestlers. I have all the respect in the world for Lucha Libre. It's just not the type of wrestling that I personally enjoy. And I think that's okay. And if you don't like the style that I wrestle, that's okay. I don't care. Everyone has their own opinion. Obviously, Dave Meltzer likes what Dave Meltzer likes, and if you listen to a lot of stuff I say, I can easily say I don't like what he likes, but that's okay, right? I don't. So, and you know what? I'm not gonna ever bash somebody. I'm not gonna tell them like, you're wrong for liking this, right? I just, I look at it and I see, what I think of like what gets over here, right?
Yeah.
In the States, like not
100%.
or like even North America, I should say, like like what gets over here. And I'm not wrestling in Japan. So maybe I wouldn't, be as popular. Maybe I wouldn't be popular in Japan. I wouldn't be popular in Mexico. I don't know. Right. That's never been like what I've looked at as like the type of wrestling that I enjoy. So that's a lot what we talk about. We talk about what we really like. We sometimes like have fun and we'll do certain like polls. And it's really, again, just to try to like hone our personalities and our voices. So that we can, whenever we can be called upon to do like podcasts like this, anything really, or even just my promos or finding a character, I can do it. So it's not just like, just sitting around doing nothing. It's just getting reps in, really.
Absolutely. Now, you did talk about your style of wrestling, and obviously you're a big man coming in at 6'12", which I know a lot of people have chuckled at, but well played nonetheless. Now, being a big man, how much adjusting did you have to do to kind of figure out, kind of the ins and outs as you were developing through your wrestling career, being the big guy in the ring?
It's much different, right? Because there's not a lot of big men out there. So there's not a lot of trainers that like really understand how to train big men. Fortunately, working with James Ellsworth, he's a guy who's always enjoyed watching big men and he's always worked with big men. So he does get it. And but a lot of trainers don't know how to really teach big men. And it's much different. It's much different. The selling's different. The like how you work's always going to be a little bit different. So it's tough. And I think with big men are critiqued the most because I also don't think people really know what to critique. And a lot of times big men are critiqued so much because a few reasons. You see more of them, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot more room for error there. There's a lot more of us mass wise in the ring, and people see it. Billy Gunn told me that. He said people are going to critique you more and like shit on you more because of like they can see more of what you're doing. They're looking at you. Like they're focused in on you because of your size. So they're going to see almost everything you do. It's harder to hide things when you're a big man. And I also just think, through the years, big men have got a lot of opportunities. And I think a lot of people, want to in life, right? There's an equilibrium, right? I say this on social media too. So like if something's getting real popular, here come the negative comments, right? Someone's going to bring it back down. You got to bring it back. So, people don't like seeing things get a little too popular, right? Like, oh, this is good. This is good. This is good. Wait a minute. It's getting too popular. Like, here come the negativity, right? Here come all the nasty comments that people want to make. I say that happens on social media. I think that happens in wrestling too. When you see a big man, and you're like, okay, he's big. He's a good looking guy. He's in shape. He's tall.
Right. Yeah.
What is wrong with him?
Yeah.
So now you start looking and saying, like, there's got to be something. There's got to be something here. And you start getting nitpicked a little bit. So, I think big men, when it comes to people's opinions about wrestling, people have the most differing opinions on big men. I've been on shows. I've had, I'm not going to say who they were, but I've had two different veterans, 2 weeks time, tell me completely different things. And these are two guys who are very well known. And almost like pretty much like one's a Hall of Famer, one's not. And so very well known guys, and one says you're working too slow. Someone sees the same exact match and says you're working too fast.
Yeah.
So it's like now you got to figure, and that's what makes it difficult because you got to sit there and think like, what's the happy median? And I think it was Dr. Tom who always said, it's like flavors of ice cream, right? Not everyone's going to think you're good. It doesn't matter how good you are. Yeah. There's only been a few people in wrestling. And even then, it doesn't matter whoever it's been. It can be Bret Hart. It can be The Rock. It can be Stone Cold. It can be Undertaker. It can be Shawn Michaels. There's going to be people that say, at least a few people say those guys aren't good.
Yeah.
It doesn't now. Depends on what you're looking for, right? So it's like a different flavor of ice cream. So you got to almost understand that you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. And like you want to be, right? It's not sports. And it's not like I can't say I'm like a baseball player and be like, well, if I'm hitting 350 and 30 home runs and 100 RBIs, everyone's going to think I'm good. You can't say I'm not good. Like you just are, right? But in wrestling, it's so subjective. So you can find something about somebody that's not good or you don't find good, and you could tell everybody that. And so with big men, it's kind of like that, where it's just, I think big men are the most critiqued. And especially if big men ever do anything, like any botches of it, automatically, boom, clumsy, right?
Well,
like it's like
you're an agile guy, right? Like you definitely have an agile element to your big man style. So
yeah, and I try to add it in every now and then. I'm not the most athletic. I can't do a moonsault. I can't do like crazy. I don't want to do stuff off the top rope. To be completely honest with you, I really just don't. But like, I know I can do certain things. Like I can do a skin the cat. I can do like a crisp roll in the ring. I can hop over the top rope. I can do like things that, you don't see. So I always like look at the Undertaker, right? Where it's like, he works like a big man. Then all of a sudden, boom, does something like that's like, whoa, he's actually also or Kane, right? Does something like real athletic, but doesn't have to do it like the whole match. Like you don't need to be doing, I don't need to be doing standing moonsaults or anything like that. Cause like, why would I? Right. I'm already bigger.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to do a stand moonsault, but you just, but you can show like, oh, you are athletic, or the way you run the ropes is the way you move, like quickly moving. Like that's what I try to add in. I look at those are the two top guys I look at of like, just add athleticism here and there. Right. You don't have to do it all. You don't have to show how agile you are the whole match, but just if you do it, like when the Undertaker at WrestleMania, when he jumps over the top rope, he only does it he only would do it at WrestleMania. Because he's like, why would I do it all the time? I don't need to do it all the time. But it makes it's a big spectacle when I do it. So like that's what I think about is like, do it when it matters and when, just a little bit each match, you can show a little bit of something just so people are like, oh, okay, the guy can move. He's not just the big plotting big guy.
Right. No, and again, that's what you're looking for is those big kind of like holy shit moments, right? Like
Mhm.
I did not see that coming. If you do it all the time, then it's just, yeah, we know he does it. Great.
Exactly. You're
Here
just
we go
waiting
again.
for it, and you're like, okay, he's gonna do like the cool moonsault, and like, but if you do it, like, oh wow, I didn't know he could do that. And just every now
Mhm.
and then.
No, absolutely. Now, again, you are kind of cooking, you're kind of boiling, your things are going well. What's kind of hot now on the press for you? I know you're doing Jeff Jarrett, which we broke here first, folks.
Yeah, we
Uh,
did.
but you got lots going on. Where do you see things going over the next little while?
Man, I mean, I wish I had that answer. I don't know. I truly don't know. I got a ton of indie bookings coming up, work some great shows. So, I mean, I'll shout a few of them out. So just Disruptor Wrestling here in Georgia. I just won their Party Animal Championship, probably
Yes, you did.
the coolest belt. It's a really cool belt. It's a orange belt.
You
Too.
got
So
it
look at one
there.
of my videos. I do. Yeah, let me get it real quick.
There you go. We always like when the belt shows up.
Look at this. It's a cool belt.
It is.
Look at the orange with the orange tint to it, or the orange. Yeah, no, Disruptor Wrestling, awesome promotion here in Georgia. A lot of great talent there, and I'm really happy that they booked me. It's a great place to work here. I'm still kind of new in Georgia, only here about 2 years,
Okay.
so trying to find some new places to work, and they've been great in Buford, Georgia. Awesome spot. Fight Factory Wrestling. We just had an awesome show in on the Jersey Shore at Martell's Tiki Bar. They're going to be running a lot more shows in the Northeast around Lake Jersey. I think the next show is September 21st in Staten Island.
Yep.
So that'll be great. I work outside of Illinois, or outside of Chicago in Sycamore, Illinois for Windy City Professional Wrestling. Our next show is September 14th.
Yep.
And a few others scattered there. I mean, one of my home promotions is in Maryland, James Ellsworth's promotion, Adrenaline Championship Wrestling. Yep. I haven't got there since March after I worked Matt Riddle, but I will hopefully be back there soon. And whenever I find time. So yeah, I got a ton of stuff coming up. When it comes to like, the prototypical big stuff, I don't know. We're going to, what I say is, KJ, what I say about it is like, I'm just going to keep going, keep having fun. I tell everyone I'm not a one trick pony. I'm not someone who's going to have one quote unquote viral moment and I'm just going to ride off into the sunset.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to keep making content. I do it every day. I haven't missed a day, I think, in like 6-7 weeks of like making content, putting out content. I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to keep trying to, make this a thing, trying to do it in a way that they don't want you to do it this way, but to the point where they can't ignore you. Right. Absolutely. So that's what I want. That's where I'm trying to get to. And again, it's just having fun. It's just until I'm not having fun anymore. I enjoy making content. It's not stressful. It's like, I enjoy showing a personality. I enjoy the comments. I enjoy having fun with people. And it resonates. And, I just want to keep on doing it until, cliche, but until the wheels fall off.
Absolutely. Have you ever considered acting? Have you done acting?
Yeah, so I got an acting gig coming up. Actually, I do. I have a little acting gig coming up. I don't know how much I can say about it, but we'll keep it at that. I got something coming up in August. It's a small like indie movie outside of Atlanta. It's a really cool premise. And I'm going to be doing that. So they reached out to me and they saw some of my stuff and I've been in contact with them. So be doing that. I've always really, I've really would love to be in acting, and they always say like the best thing about being a big guy in entertainment is that there's not a lot of you. So when they need you, there's not a lot to pick from, but there's not a crazy amount of roles either. So it's like, you have a small set of roles and there's a small set of you. So you're going to get the roles when they need you for certain things. So I'm actually SAG eligible. So I could join the Screen Actors Guild if I wanted to. I do have a full-time job still. I still work full-time and so I got to make sure, the bills are paid. But I'm just starting to get that itch, right? Like I've always been a creative person. I've always been. I've always said like I need something creative and I can't just sit back and have I got to do something, even if it's just a hobby. I got to do something creative because I'm just a creative minded person. Wrestling's been tremendous. I hope it continues. But you never know. I might dabble into the acting. I might do this movie and be like, this is something I really want to do. And it's another thing. It's like indie wrestling. It's like make connections, right? You got to just got to make connections with people, and that's what it's all about. So we'll see. It's definitely not the end. I'm not going to sit back and be like, hey, I was on Rampage and I'm done. Right.
Well, yeah, I'm good, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, right. You're gonna see a lot more of me, whether you like it or not. If you're on social media, I'm probably in your algorithm now. So either you're welcome or sorry. But get used to it because this face ain't going nowhere.
Right. No, I expect to see you around a lot. Before I let you get out of here, and I appreciate you for cooking through.
Dude, this has been fun, man. I appreciate you having me.
Are you down to play a little game before you leave here? It won't be
long. Go right ahead. I'm always down. Yeah, I don't know what I'm agreeing to, but yeah.
We got a little game we're gonna play. Meat popping or stopping.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give you a topic, a name, a something generic, and you can let me know if you think it's meat popping or is it stopping.
Okay. I like it.
Look, we'll start with an easy one. We'll start with car promos.
I used to cut them all the time.
I know.
So they used to be meat popping. I used to try to make it part of my gimmick, but no, they're fully stopping now, guys. There's so many editing apps out there. There's so many things. They look so silly. Like, I mean, you and when you start out, I get it. You might be a little nervous to cut a promo like in your house or like on the street or something. But guys, get out of your comfort zone. Get out of your car. Cut the promo. I'm not gonna rib people for doing it. Like I'll make my videos. If that's what you want to do, folks, go ahead. But but they're the Bush League. You gotta stop doing them.
So that's
stopping.
That one's stopping. We're stopping on that one for sure. All right. How about one that's a little biased, but Canada? How do you feel about Canada?
Canada. I had a Canadian roommate in college, so I meat popping. I do like Canada. I ribbed my roommate a lot about Canada, but I went to Vermont, so a lot of Canadians. Ooh. I don't know about the French Canadians though.
We don't either. We don't either.
No, okay, but no, everyone in Canada, I'll say for now, baby face at meat popping.
Yeah, it's funny because one of the places going across the border for hockey, Burlington, Vermont, always gave us a hard time. They always produced some really good hockey teams.
They did, yeah. That's what they're known for. And we had basketball too, but yeah, it was hockey. It was a hockey town.
Sure. Well, basketball's off the list. We know that's popping. So, how about Dave Meltzer?
Oh my
God, it's mean.
I've kind of laid off Dave Meltzer for a bit now. I mean, I don't want to be the guy that just always comments on Dave Meltzer, but he's full stop. And I think Dave's an amazing historian about wrestling. Dave's been an asset to wrestling for a long time. I just think it's passed Dave by. So I mean, I'm going to say to me, it's stopping.
I like it. What about Jimmy Hart?
Oh my God, I love Jimmy Hart, popping. He's what a wonderful guy. Oh my God, he's a tremendous guy. Just every time I see him, such the nicest guy. So yeah, meat popping for sure.
Absolutely. What about Stunt Marshall?
I love Stunt. He's a good brother. Yeah, no, old hate Hogan, man. I think everything he does is hysterical. He just makes me laugh just existing. You don't have to say anything. Meat popping for sure.
There you go. What about parachute pants?
I do like parachute pants. I wish they'd come back in style. So meat popping.
That and the fanny packs are all both.
It's a great style.
There you go. How about Adam Sandler movies?
Yes, meat popping. They were my favorite movies when I was a kid. And everyone thinks my shindy promoter gimmick, I sound like Adam Sandler. Are you doing Adam Sandler? Like, no, I'm not. But I mean, go right ahead and think it if you want. I mean, that's totally fine. No, Billy Madison, one of my favorite comedies of all time. So meat popping.
Actually, one thing I'll actually transition. So, popping or stopping on Matt Cardona.
Ooh. No, I mean the wrestler in me would say stopping because I want to start a feud with Matt Cardona, and I think we could do some fun stuff on the indies here or somewhere bigger. But as Matt Cardona as a person and Matt Cardona as what he's been able to do, big time meat popping.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Yeah, I do think we need a Shindy God versus the Indie God.
I think
Either
so.
to come together or battle each other out.
Who's gonna book it? Who's gonna book it? I'm telling you, the Shindy God's over, Matt. And he said, he commented thief on it, but I'm like, hey, dude, that's all wrestling is. We're all stealing shit. So I just keep it up.
No, that's perfect, my man. No, I appreciate all of that. And there you go. You officially learned what is popping and stopping here from Big Ben Bishop. But beyond that, let the people know where they can check you out. Maybe cut a little promo on the world. Let them know what you're up to.
Yeah, guys. I mean, I've said it enough, but I'll say it again. At Big Trouble BB, I am the humor of the humorless. I call myself the innovator of benevolence. 6'12", 15% of a metric ton. I bet you have never seen a guy my size with as much personality. You probably haven't, but you're seeing it now, and you can see more of me on Twitter, on Instagram. You can also see TikTok too. I really haven't figured out TikTok yet. Maybe I'm too. Maybe I'm past that demo. But check me out. Engage. I'm a pretty engaging guy. I'll talk to you right back. I'll always write you back. I'll always comment. I'll have some fun. That's what it's all about. Have fun, make friends, and remember who loves you, Ben.
Perfect. Well, once again, thank you so much for joining our little channel here at the Wrasslin for Life Network and being a part of it. Is it true? Is your birthday July 28th?
It sure isn't. I don't know. Where'd you get that?
I saw that somewhere. I was like, oh my God.
No, it's March 10th. My birthday's March 10th.
All right. So don't believe the internet, folks. I was going to wish you an early birthday. But
yeah, it's definitely. Well, you can send me anything you want. Go ahead if you want it to be. Go ahead.
There you go. Check out his wish list as well, folks. So, but no, once again, thank you. We look forward to seeing where you go. We'll have to have you back when you get even bigger and keep blowing up, my friend. But folks, remember, we got all your content. We got more live watch-alongs than anybody else out there, and we do not stop. Don't miss a minute. Be a friend. Tell a friend. And once again, Mr. Ben, I can't say it enough. Thank you for joining us.
You got it.
Today.
Thank you, man.